G'day, guys, and welcome to episode 34 of the Mindful Men podcast. I'm your host, Simon Rennie, and today I'm getting mindful about mindful men. That's right, I'm introducing you to the therapy component of mindful men. Things like what I do and why I do it, my niche and areas of interest. And if you're new to the show, let me give you a big warm welcome. If you're interested in becoming mindful of who you are and where you can grow, then you've come to the right place. And for those of you who have been following me along my journey, welcome back. Now, before we get into today's episode, a reminder that if you love what you hear, make sure that you leave a 5-star rating and review on your favorite podcast platform. Ratings and reviews, they help us to grow the channel and climb that ratings ladder. And in turn, this helps it to reach more eyes, ears, and hearts. And if you're watching this on YouTube, make sure that you subscribe to the channel and smash that notification bell so you don't miss future episodes. So this week, I wanted to shake things up a little and talk about the therapy side of mindful men. Now, if you like visuals, I'm screen sharing my website today. So check out the YouTube page and we'll go through it together. As many of you know, I finished my Masters of Social Work in 2021, and it's been my dream to open my own business, dedicated to supporting men to open up. As I've said in plenty of episodes before, this is important because as blokes, we struggle to open up. We might feel it's weak to speak or that we just need to harden up. But in reality, we need to soften up. We need to tune in to what's happening inside because when we don't, we can explode. Now, some people out there, particularly social workers, they might say, why just men? Well, because that's what I know. It's my niche. But the social worker in me won't turn a child or a teenager away, or a girl, woman, or person not identifying as being male. Sometimes people just want to speak to a man, and that's okay, because having the right fit is important. But in essence, this is a space for men to open up and get vulnerable and start a journey towards improved well-being. So what can I help with? Well, anything that's impacting your health and well-being. Mindful Men is a therapy service in that a lot of what we do is just talk. This in itself can be hard, but take it from me, sometimes it's nice to unload all the thoughts that have been going around in my head in a safe and respectful space. And this is what I provide. I'm predominantly a telehealth service that's available to Australians nationwide. But I recognise this doesn't suit everyone. And so I can also provide in-home or in-community therapy in Queensland's Sunshine Coast. Now, if talking doesn't really suit you and you're a local, I'm happy to put the walking shoes on and go for a walk. Or maybe we can go down to the beach and practice some mindfulness. Or maybe I'll bring my guitar around and we could just jam and chat at the same time. Maybe you'd like to draw and chat, or coffee and chat. Or we'll spend time doing push-ups and sit-ups and chatting between sets. Whatever therapy works for you, I'm happy to shake things up a little to suit. In this light, I also support participants of the NDIS, the National Disability Insurance Scheme. The only difference here is that I provide capacity building support, not mental health therapy. Why? Because the NDIS doesn't fund mental therapy support, but they do fund capacity building support, so I can tweak my toolkit to suit the NDIS needs. The About page on the website talks to my experience. I completed my master's degree as a mature age student. As I was juggling that part-time, I was also working full-time as a senior planner in the NDIS, and being a dad to 2 kids under 5 and a husband, and managing my own health and well-being as well. I've lived with mental illness for 30 years, with my obsessive compulsive disorder or OCD starting at around 8 years. I've experienced multiple bouts of depression, and generalized anxiety has been a constant. In 2020, I also experienced burnout, by trying to juggle all of these things plus COVID lockdowns. By highlighting this, I'm highlighting my lived experience with mental illness. And for some people, this really matters. You can study all the things in the world, but sometimes, unless you've walked in similar shoes, you're only halfway to really understanding what someone has been going through. And I guess this is important because, yes, I'm a new graduate, but that's okay. I'm developing the experience of study through my business, and I can draw upon bucket loads of lived experience to help along the way. In terms of direct social work practice, I've had 2 placements. The first was in a high school chaplaincy program where we provided youth peer mentoring, leadership development, and community development programs. This meant tuning into my childhood again and seeing the world through kids' eyes. As a dad, this came naturally, and I love supporting school kids in their environment. My second placement was in a private practice where I provided support to a regular caseload, from students to teenagers to men of all ages. I was a sounding board for discussions about mental health, men's culture, disability, identity, and relationships. In a way, my 4 years as a planner in the NDIS has also helped immensely. I was a lead planner for child safety participants and worked closely with child safety officers across Gympie, Noosa, Sunshine Coast, and Moreton Bay areas. I developed NDIS plans for participants of all sorts of disabilities, and this included autism, fetal alcohol spectrum disorder, schizophrenia, amputations, acquired brain injuries, and cerebral palsy, just to name a few. My interests include mental health, men's health, depression, anxiety, OCD, disability, parenting, relationships, burnout, workplace stress, and values. And my interventions are tailored towards clients' needs. Some people just like to talk, and that's okay. I draw from acceptance commitment therapy, or ACT, where I tune into values-based work and mindfulness. This is where Mindful Men originates from, because mindfulness-based practice, I believe, helps us tune into who we are and how we can grow. I also like solution-focused brief therapy or cognitive behavior therapy, because here we can challenge negative thoughts and feelings and overcome them with simple strategies. We can also do it quickly, because you don't need to be in endless therapy to live well. Now, I mentioned before that I provide mental health and NDIS supports. I'm not an accredited mental health social worker yet, but I am working towards this. And this is important for anyone listening who has a mental health treatment plan from their GP. Because I'm not yet accredited, I can't offer Medicare rebates for this, but I can still provide private support until such time that I can become accredited. I also am now registered to provide Workcover supports, and this is not yet up on my website, but it will be up on the website within the week. So if you're on a Workcover claim from your GP in Queensland, you can contact me, or your GP can refer to me, and we can work through a treatment plan together. Now, I won't go into the costs, as these are all on the website, but I find it's good putting them up for everyone to see, because there's nothing more frustrating than calling someone to find out that you can't afford their services. So by putting the costs on my website, you can either save yourself a phone call or go, yep, I can afford that. Now on this slide, think about this. You might look at the costs on the website and think it's a bit of a rip-off. But this then becomes a question of, where are your priorities? How many of us, and this was myself when I was younger, wouldn't think twice about blowing a few $100 on a big night out? The night out, it gives us temporary relief, but it's never long term. But consciously spending money to offload years or decades of hurt and then get well again, that's a step in a mindful direction. Now, extending on this, I'm always open to community speaking events, group work, training, report writing, and mentoring. And if you're in the podcast or YouTube worlds, I love chatting men's mental health, parenting, and just life's messiness. So if you're keen to collaborate, contact me and we can talk about what that looks like. Now, if you're not quite sure if we'll be a good fit, you can also check out the socials. Mindful Men is on Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, Apple Podcasts, and Spotify, to name a few. You can listen to some of the episodes or read some of the content to get a feeling of who I am. And you can do this right from the socials tab on the website. Here, you'll have links to the social pages, but also a blog post for each podcast episode. Or you can give me a call or send me an email, and the contact details are on the website too. Now, before I go, let me go through the contact points. I'm open Monday to Wednesday, 9 a.m. to 4 p.m, and Thursday, 9 a.m. to 2 p.m, and these are Queensland times. I'm closed on public holidays and weekends unless there's a specific need for me to be working on those days. My phone number and email are on the website, plus some emergency information if you're in crisis. Please note that Mindful Men isn't a crisis support service, and if you're in urgent need, please attend your local hospital's emergency department or call 000 if you're in Australia. Additional supports include Lifeline on 131114 or Kids Helpline on 1800 551 800 or the Suicide Callback Service on 1300 659 467. Apologies if you're not in Australia, but please be familiar with your local area contact numbers. Well, that's it. A brief introduction to the therapy aspect of Mindful Men. If you're struggling with anything mentioned today and think that I could help, please head over to www.mindful-men.com.au. Check out the services, costs, and contact details, and give me a call. And until next time, stay mindful. If you enjoyed today's episode, make sure that you like it and leave a comment, and then share it with your mates. Also, subscribe to the channel and hit that notification bell so that you don't miss a moment of future episodes to come.